That can be.
Hello, how we doing? And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, it's me, the Southern Fried Gentleman. You can make it like clockwork. Monday and Thursday, we're going to be coming to you live. Sometimes it might be a little earlier. Sometimes it might be a little later. We were actually shooting for halftime of this Baltimore and Cincinnati Bengals game, tied up 7-7 currently in the second quarter, I believe it is.
Yeah.
If you are here with us now, though, thank you. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. But listen, we've got jam-packed topics. So I've got a very interesting question regarding NASCAR. We're going to save it for later. What is the mindset, though, of these drivers in the playoffs and the mental fortitude that it takes for them to compete? And then not only that, what if you win in the playoffs? It's like, what could have been? We will discuss that. That's just a little tease. We'll go much further into the topic when we get here a little bit later on. Also mention the Bengals and the Ravens. Don't forget GreenvilleSportsMedia.com. Don't forget FurmanJoust.com. We are full-blown college basketball. Everything you can imagine is on GreenvilleSportsMedia.com. They've got NC State podcast. Uncle Poops knows a little bit about NC State. Unc State. It works. Why not? Unc State. Of course, we've got Virginia Tech. I don't know if there's anybody that covers them on Greenville Sports Media, but of course, Virginia Tech fan here, Gamecock fan here, lover of sports, knowers of ball. And so, like I said, we've got very interesting questions. We've also got NIL. We've got W Energy Drinks, JD672. So again, Southern Fried Gentleman, Uncle Poops. Let's start off, though, with this very intriguing question regarding the Ravens and the Bengals. Which team would you prefer to go 6-4? Would you prefer the Ravens to go 6-4? Or would you prefer the Bengals to go 4-6? Basically asking which of these teams would you rather see win this evening. I have Lamar Jackson on my fantasy team. So I want to see the Bengals make a run. But I also want to see Lamar Jackson score 30 points. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. But I would not be upset, though, if the Bengals won this game. So, Shane, what do you prefer? Bengals 4-6 or Ravens 6-4?
Man, I like just the 6-4 Ravens and their team as a whole. It sounds better whenever you compare them because
it's crazy to me they've lost 4 games.
Well, they're one of the most competitive teams that could possibly face the Chiefs
or potentially 4 games.
Yeah. But they're they can face the Chiefs. They can give them a run. It's it's one of those ones that they could knock off that team. But yet we're talking about the AFC North. We've been talking about the NFC North and how strong they are here lately, with the Lions, the Packers, everybody but the Bears. So, but, we can look at this division too. I mean, the Browns are no slouch. You got the Steelers up there and what they're doing since they brought Russell back. It's become two of the most interesting divisions in football is the NFC and the AFC North, in my opinion. And, any team that you look at, Detroit out of the NFC and Baltimore out of the AFC North, those teams are the ones that are knocking at the door to beat the well-known teams, say Kansas City, off of their pedestal and make it into the championship Super Bowl game.
Right. Well, the only thing that I think I would have to disagree on there is so the Chiefs haven't even played their best football yet. And the Ravens, though, it's their defense. That's how they've lost 3 games so far, is their defense can't stop a nosebleed. They have given up the most passing yards per attempt in the last, 5 years. or even longer than that for them. I know I think they're 27th in the NFL, if I heard that correctly earlier, but they give up over 7 yards per pass attempt or per pass completion. And that's just not a good way to win football games. And then when you put Mahomes there, so yeah, I mean, I think the Chargers can give the Chiefs a run, possibly.
But the Chiefs are up there in pass yards, per completion as well. So it's not necessarily like that. That's been a thing, a staple through Baltimore through the past probably 4 years.
Right.
Their secondary has let them down in major situations, if not the injury bug.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Chiefs are right there along with them. I mean, you see them; they make great acquisitions around the trade deadline to shore up that secondary and make that playoff run that they do. The Baltimore has not, but hey, they're coming around, and they've got a lot of young pieces. That's a plus side of Baltimore. They haven't brought a lot of people in other than through the draft and developmental stages. So.
Mhm.
So that's one plus side I see they have going for them, and I do get that concern because hey, we're sitting there like Baltimore, but on paper, on the offensive side of the ball, they should score. They should win by 50.
Yeah, they're elite. But yeah, and then their defense, and so yeah, the basic question it would come down to me at that point would be: do I trust the Chiefs defense more or the Ravens defense more? I see we got a couple of people watching. Thank y'all for being here. Hit a comment. Would you rather see the Ravens go 6-4 this evening, or would you rather see the Bengals go 4-6 this evening? I mean, I'm good either way. Like Shane was mentioning, there's tons of teams, Detroit Lions, the NFC North, all of that stuff in the NFL. Let's move on to another team that's also very popular to talk about, but they're usually more fun to make fun of. And so, Jerry Jones, bro. With all due respect, as a Carolina Panther fan, you just got fleeced. What were you thinking? Jonathan Mingo? Really? And I know you said you wanted to make a trade, but it also depended on who would want to tango with you. And I kind of like what the Panthers are doing, stocking up draft picks, preparing for the next year's draft. Hey, it's time to get young. It's time to get as many athletes, as many good, solid players as you can. They're going to use these 4th round picks, these 5th round picks. They're going to move up into the 2nd and 3rd round, and I expect the Panthers to fully load in on this young team thing starting next season.
Young talent, not team.
But Green Bay's got one of the young teams. But Green Bay's got a young team, though. And so, yeah, but look for them. That's the point, though, is look for them to get much young talent in this draft. And if that isn't the plan, shame on you. But anyways, back to the original question. Did the Panthers fleece Jerry Jones by trading Jonathan Mingo for a 4th round pick? And what was Jerry Jones thinking, if you agree with me?
I can tell you, in my opinion now, I'm just going to let you know, this Jonathan Mingo is a athlete. He's got size. He's got, go up ability, stuff like that. I mean, we saw him in college. He had a lot of big plays in college for a big receiver, especially going down the field and going through the middle. I cannot. I'd have to see him in that offense. I mean, as poorly as that offense has been, it's not as dismal as the Panthers' offense has been. As far as actually getting somebody time to throw him the ball. So, I mean, he's a bigger guy. He's not that quick slot guy that you're going to, pop a pass to in, 2 seconds, something like that. So, I'd like to see him develop. I think he could be a good receiver for them, and that's probably what they were banking on. And, like as you said, the Panthers got a kind of fire sale going on right now to kind of stock up on draft picks to get younger talent in there to see what they can do with it. I think, we've seen the Ravens, we've seen the Cowboys. They're willing to give up those late round draft picks, which you can combine on top of each other, like JD was saying, with, getting up to the 2nd round. I mean, even up to the 1st round. You put a 2nd round this year, 3rd round, 4th round, and then a couple of another 3rd and 4th rounds the next year with it. you can sneak up into the late first round to get a decent player that's going to contribute to the team right away. So, but as far as Jerry Jones, and the Panthers fleecing them on that, it'll take time to see that because he is a good athlete, and there was a reason that the Panthers drafted him where they did and put that much stock in him. But the Panthers got to go the direction that's best fit for them right now. So I see the move, but I think it would be interesting on both sides.
Right, absolutely. Well, I mean, honestly, think about all the other Panthers players that have left though and went on to be successful. I mean, Baker Mayfield just a few years ago showed up in Los Angeles, didn't even know any of the players on the team, and went out and won a Monday Night Football game.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold.
And I mean, Baker's cooking in Tampa right now.
Yeah, Baker's cooking. And Sam Darnold, Minnesota.
I mean, you look two best NFC quarterbacks by stats are ex-Panthers.
Right. Yeah, and they leave the Panthers and they get better. So it'll be very curious to see, though, if Deontay Johnson gets better with the Ravens and if Mingo gets better with the Cowboys. And then the Cowboys, one more question for you. We're going to move on from this one really quickly. We'll go like 30 seconds rapid fire on this question. Are y'all fixing to learn that you don't need a $260 million quarterback to win football games? Because Cooper Rush is 5-1 as a starter, filling in for Dak Prescott. So, Dallas Cowboy fans, is this the time that your season turns around? Or are you chalking this one up and Cooper Rush isn't going to do anything better than Dak Prescott? Shane, if you're a Cowboys fan, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking we invested way too much in Dak to start with. Of course, statistically, he is comparable to Mahomes in one category. He lacks in them, and that's the only category that matters.
Playoff wins.
Yep, playoff wins.
Playoffs.
That's what it is. But hey, we just talked about him. Sam Darnold. He was coming in after Kirk O'Bangs, leaving for Atlanta.
Hey, he's been on fire too, man.
Minnesota and Chicago were supposed to fight for the bottom barrel of that NFC North, and look at what they've done. So don't put, I mean, these quarterbacks, they may be second string. They sit there and practice with these guys. They sit there and learn the playbook more than maybe the starter because they have so much other attraction and everything going on around them. So don't be surprised if they come in and play better football, more fundamental football, and gets the team rolling. I mean, we've seen it too many cases before, so that's my take on it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys, thank goodness for them. They fixed my kid's little electric go-kart outside, or gas go-kart, excuse me. Electric wouldn't work. Go-kart, though. Put a little choke switch, put a little Cowboy sticker on the choke switch. That sucker's fired up ever since. No problem with the choke switch. I might have to replace it with a Raven switch, though, very soon, depending on how the rest of this season shakes out. So that's going to wrap up the NFL football talk for this evening. And I would be remiss, though, if I didn't say, I have a beautiful wife, y'all. Happy birthday to Shane Soser, my beautiful wife. Coming up tomorrow. I did forget to mention that starting out. But here's your grand happy birthday right here in the middle of Southern Fried Sports. The Southern Fried Gentleman. Baby, you know how it goes, man. We get tangled up in our sports sometimes. Even you do when you're watching a Hokie game. You're not even allowed to watch Hokie games. So I don't want to hear anything about it, all right?
That's only because of the 4 and 5 letter words that we let go. And we don't want those to let go in front of the kids. So.
Right. But
we're realists. But and hey, Elizabeth, happy birthday. She is just a little bit younger than me. I'm not going to reveal my age so she doesn't get mad and beat up on JD later. But happy birthday. We love you. And hope your weekend is great and grand.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. We, I already know a couple of things, but that's for another day. So, hey, let's swap it up to some of the craziest talk I have ever heard before in my life. All right, so did y'all catch the news out of Yosemite, South Carolina today? Or Yemisi? I don't even know which one. Yemisi. Yosemite. Hey, either way.
Exit 38 on 95 down there around Charleston, Beaufort area.
Right. Well, yeah, it's down there in Beaufort County, and today it was Yosemite for about 40 monkeys. 40 monkeys escaped from a bio lab, y'all. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is worse than how COVID started.
Hey,
I mean,
hey, hold on. They just want to go be with their people, down there. What's that island down there right off Savannah? Isn't it called Monkey Island or something like that?
man, I don't know. Hey, I ain't never seen, but see, that's the thing. I was like, how can y'all not find 40 monkeys in a state that don't even have monkeys? Unless I'm mistaken, I ain't never seen a monkey around South Carolina for my life.
I have.
But 40 of them somehow escaped. And so after this news, though, came out of 40 monkeys escaping a biolab, how about the LSU Tigers said, we're not just going to have our regular tiger at the game this week, Mike, who will stay outside the stadium in his domain across the street.
No, he used to stay right there when they came out. The visiting team came out of the locker room.
They're bringing a substitute tiger in. So there will not only be one, but 2 tigers in Louisiana. So we've got monkeys on the loose in South Carolina. We've got tigers fixing to be on the loose in Louisiana. And that explains what the SEC has been so far this season. We've got elimination games. It's been a jungle. It's been survival of the fittest. The loser of LSU and Bama will be eliminated from the playoffs this week. Whichever one of them loses, they will be eliminated because they will be 4th or 5th in the SEC.
It depends on how everything shakes out.
There's no way. Yeah, there's no way that more than 3 teams from the SEC are getting in. Not with the way the Big 10, the Big 12, and all of that is shaking out. And the ACC, not even. I mean, the ACC might still get 2 teams in, possibly. But anyways, the SEC has been a jungle. I also think the loser of the Georgia and Ole Miss game this weekend will be eliminated from contention.
If it's Ole Miss.
And then, yeah, right. If it's Ole Miss, most likely. Georgia, maybe. Georgia could suffer enough from that loss to Ole Miss, though. Who knows?
But Georgia, the way they're
depending on how the rest of them
their losses, tiebreakers, man. SEC is crazy.
Yeah, and so and then the SEC's got to come down to all these tie breaks, too.
Arkansas,
so we're not going to have.
Arkansas could be in the championship game.
There's going to be
Kansas,
and that doesn't even count Tennessee. If they end up 10-2 or 11-1, no,
there's
10-2. Yeah, Tennessee.
It's like a circus. I'm trying to juggle all the scenarios in my mind.
And so it's really crazy. Kelly Ford of K Ford Ratings has 12 out of the 16 SEC teams still alive in the SEC. But the main story, though, like I said, is the 40 monkeys that escaped. If y'all see a monkey, call animal control, help somebody out. Let's get these biochemicals out of the way. Shane, what are your thoughts on monkeys getting loose, tigers getting loose, and the SEC being an absolute jungle?
Oh, it is a jungle. I mean, it's survival of the fittest. And what we've seen, I mean, we look at it now. I mean, we see a lot more of these upsets, like, say, Vandy over Alabama. We normally see these, but yet we're also looking at, like, say, there's some teams that don't play, like South Carolina barely beat Georgia, but barely lost to Georgia
last year.
Last
was
year.
Up 17-0, I think, in the first 14-0 or 17-0 in the first half, and blew it.
But then, like, you see those close games and stuff like that,
and then they didn't even play this year, and then all they're doing next year is flipping
it. And that was a full SEC East rivalry back in the day. I mean, South Carolina.
We didn't play Tennessee either.
Yeah. South Carolina played Georgia, Tennessee, Florida. Those were the big rivalry games before A&M got there. So you look at it now, you don't have South Carolina playing these teams. South Carolina's still in a position to do decent. I mean, they've got one possession loss to LSU thanks to the refs, and a one possession loss to Alabama thanks to themselves. But it's interesting that we see in the SEC. Like I said, Arkansas is still open and almost kind of sitting in a driver's seat. If they win out, they're going to the championship game because they still. I mean, it's crazy to see. You add more and more teams in, just like we see in the Big Ten. You see some of these matchups like Ohio State, Wisconsin. Have they played this year?
Mm-mm.
Are they?
I don't think so.
So I mean, you see where a lot of these conferences used to knock out, the mid tier teams, but because the mid tier teams don't necessarily, it's based on that schedule. They don't have this and this and this to go through anymore, so it makes these two conferences especially interesting because you have mid tier teams that used to play the top tier teams and get knocked down. They don't have that anymore, so you have more chaos in the middle. And I mean, you can make an argument where there could be 5 SEC teams or 4 Big Ten teams
Right.
in the playoffs.
Well, and especially when it comes to what the committee has always liked to say before with the eye test. And so, yeah, I know they have these stipulations where the conference champions must get in, the highest ranked group of 5 champion must get in. And so that's why the SEC and the Big Ten want to expand this thing to 14 already. They already want it. They want 4 SEC, 4 Big Ten teams, and then they want a couple other conference champions, and because they think they're that deep. I mean, that's really where we're at with the SEC and the Big Ten on this.
But you look at it, you got possibly Clemson could win the ACC and take a 3 or 4 seed. I mean, and be ranked out the top 15 at that point. With everything that goes on. So I mean that's where we're looking at. And hey, I've vetted for it a long time ago, trying to encourage, hey, let's expand these playoffs and let's get conferences in, but let's get conferences that make sense. Like let's let these regional teams beat up on each other. Like, I mean, West Virginia and Virginia Tech used to have a rivalry for the Black Diamond Trophy. It's Black Diamond's coal, if anybody knows.
Right.
But, now they're in the Big 12. They haven't played in, it seems like years until the past couple of years. So, I mean, that's one thing you look at doing these regional matchups, trying to weed out, the mediocrity against the top to where you can actually fit teams against each other that match up great and actually give you a true blue, I guess you could say, eye candy and talent top 12 teams.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And then, what I was going to say though, too, is they had that conversation yesterday on the radio station I listened to. And they said, that's the way I understood it. The top 4, ACC, SEC,
every major,
Big 10, Big 12. Those 4 conference champions,
is
regardless of record,
is 1
through 4.
Yes, that is correct.
And so they asked this question though that was like, could we possibly see the ACC champion not be one of the top 4 seeds? And I was like, well, that's invalid because it couldn't be. And he told me I was incorrect. He told me I was incorrect, but that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to clarify. Y'all tell me, am I right or wrong?
That's what they said. That's why they only gave them like 1 out of group of 5 automatic bid into it, because you can still.
It would have been 5, but the Pac-12 lost theirs because they disintegrated.
Yes,
it would have been the top 5 would have gotten.
Well, there still is a clause because it's the Pac-2 or some.
Yeah, I think there's still possibly
stuff like that.
Right.
But no, there's not any possibility anymore because they've got to be just like the group of 5. They've got to be kind of still in the top 25. Other than the group of 5 is automatically gained a bid, even if they're outside of the top 25. They just got to be the best team that's ranked ahead of everybody else.
Right. Well, and here we're going to finish up our SEC football talk right here. Again, Southern Fried Gentleman, J.D. Wyatt, Uncle Poops, co-host, brother-in-law, cousin Shane, Uncle Poops, don't matter, whatever you want to call him. Also, don't forget, they removed my ability, I guess, to tag our X here at the bottom. Everything you need to know is at the bottom of the screen. GreenvilleSportsMedia.com, JD Wyatt 06 on Twitter, JD Wyatt on Facebook, Uncle Poops. We got at Poops with a Z, at Sports with a Z on X, and then Shane Owen, of course, on Facebook. Make sure y'all hit us with a subscribe. We need 10 subscribers to get to 100, okay? y'all, us. I couldn't do it without any of us. Wife, family,
Billy
everybody.
Billy Bob, 10. 10.
Yeah, we got
10.
we got Rowdy Rooster, we've got Wesley, we've got Coach that listens. I mean, Mark, all you guys, Jamie. Thank you guys all for tuning in, subscribing. Help me out. Let's get 10 more. Bring a friend in here. We've had great conversation so far, I think. Y'all tell me. I don't know. I don't see anybody commenting, but I do see 2 people watching. So let's finish up our SEC football talk with 2 things really quickly. We're going to go rapid fire on this one. Shane, thoughts? Billy Napier retained next year, even though the schedule ends with 4 away games, and they still could finish with 1-3 finishing out this year. What are your thoughts? What are your shots at Billy Napier? What are your thoughts on Billy Napier? And then Dylan Stewart in negotiation for a 6-figure NIL deal at South Carolina. Thank the good Lord above. We all said we need to pay that dude before somebody else tried to. So good job to the Gamecocks getting out in front of the ball on that one. Shane, thoughts? Billy Napier, Dylan Stewart in NIL talks.
Napier, the only reason why he got extended is because they have performed better than what was expected this year. They were expected to go twofer, if not a over, this year. So that's
and they look competitive. I mean, they've been competitive.
They have. I mean, you look at the game against Georgia. You get them midway through the third quarter, it's a close game. I mean, not that close, but I mean, for Florida standards and what they were expected to this year, it is good to see them do that. Give them faith. You're not getting anywhere with what you have coming in and stuff like that. You've got to build off of what you kind of see out there. So give them another year. But of course, next year he goes 0 for 6, and he's fired during the middle of the year. So they've got that buyout to deal with. So that's on them.
Another buyout. They should have never fired Dan Mullen, in my opinion. That's just me.
I'll break it down. The NIL with Stewart, it's all fine and dandy until more money comes to the pasture. I mean, the pasture is always greener on the other side. Well, the other side's probably got plenty more money to give to them. It just depends on what kind of kid that South Carolina has recruited and what they've come to build in that program. See where his heart's at. I see him as a great prospect, and it could be a first round Clowney type pick, here in the next couple of years. So if you want to keep him there with the current climate in college football, you've got to kind of insinuate these, because you don't hear a lot of, hey, I want this degree because it's a good business school.
Right. Oh yeah, you'll never ever
You look at Arch Manning in Texas. How much money does he have there? But because of what he's going through right now and everything, it's basically a bid for where he's going to next year. And Ole Miss is in one of those runnings, and I see it. They've got a lot of old money that they can throw at them, but it just depends on the type of person that you want with the program. It's become a professional sport when it comes to marquee players, especially you talk about edge rushers, quarterback, running backs, receivers. You see that coming. It's become professional, and you've basically got to go buy this kid into your program because he's going to be the best one for you, and you can put up this much money for him.
Right. Well, and that's certainly what's saving Billy Napier right now is DJ Lagway. So hopefully he's able to return very quickly. I think he caught an injury, didn't he, last week?
I'm not sure.
I think Lagway did catch an injury last week. So I think he's saved Billy Napier a lot. Gamecock Chuck, if I didn't say 7 figures, yes, you're absolutely right. Dylan Stewart is negotiating a $1 million to $1.5 million deal with the NIL collective right now. And let's be honest about it, guys. I mean, if we let it get down later in the season, say we lose a few games, I am sure that people would already be in contact with his agent saying, hey, what would it take for you to transfer? We already know this is going on in college football. Don't listen. I'm not gullible. I'm not dumb.
It was happening before they made it legal.
How about this? So the transfer portal isn't even open yet, but supposedly South Carolina had a Gamecock linebacker. I forget his name, Kamali, maybe. How about he's already entered the portal that isn't open, and he's already committed to somewhere?
That was the one that lost Tuesday.
What? What?
Kamali?
No,
That
no,
was the one
not
that
no,
lost
that no,
Tuesday.
no. It was Mo Bamba. There was a linebacker. I can't remember his name, but he has supposedly already entered the transfer portal that isn't open yet, and he has already committed to another school. Thank you, Bengali Kamara. Thank you. I knew that was somebody that listened and knew what I was talking about. Thank you very much, Gamecock Chuck. Appreciate you being here, my man. Listen up. We'll get more Gamecock stuff going in. How do you feel about Dylan Stewart getting his NIL deal? I mean, I'm good with Florida keeping Billy Napier. I don't know about you, Chuck. I'm sure you probably feel the same way. Honestly, it sucks we didn't play him this year. I'd take them over Vanderbilt right now, honestly. Man, we've got a dogfight coming up. Listen, Diego.
Trust me, it is a dogfight. Coming
That
from
dude,
a Tech fan,
listen, man, I'm telling you.
Tech fan,
Yeah.
of course, they kind of gave it to them.
They've already beat
regulation.
They've already beat a fighting chicken once.
We're not chicken, buddy.
Same thing.
We're the only turkey mascot.
A fighting bird.
We're a hokey.
Fighting bird. Says the F1 driver who couldn't guess what a gamecock was. He said we were, oh God, what did he say? The angry chicken men or something like that. I forget what he said. So yeah, we've covered everything. So hey, do you guys have any good upset picks? I went with Oklahoma State losing to TCU. If that happens, this will be the longest active winning streak for a college coach going over 500. Mike Van Gundy is at 18 years. 18 years, finishing 500 or better. That is at risk. That was my upset pick. I chose him to not make that record starting this week. Do y'all have any good upset picks? So I tell you what, we've been at it for about 30 minutes.
I've got a decent upset
pick. Oh, yeah,
pick.
Shane's got one here. Shane, give an upset pick.
Against the spread, because they didn't beat us. But Georgia Tech at home against Miami.
I looked at that one.
This is that Georgia Tech sleeper where they snuck in against Florida State.
I picked Duke last week. I couldn't pick against Miami twice.
But where they snuck in against Florida State, ran that kickback, that year. You look at that one. That one's a good one. Who does Texas? I'm trying to look up who Texas Tech has because Colorado, Texas Tech, Colorado.
Yeah.
On the money line. Take the over. Both teams can't stop a cold in the winter.
Yeah, it'll be a high-scoring game, I think, there.
And the over 62.5. So, I mean, take the over. I think it'll be like a 48-45, maybe one overtime game. So, I think that'll be good.
Absolutely. Hey, and Gamecock Chuck, he got one more Dylan Stewart comment in here. I was actually going to mention that before I started babbling on about something else. Dylan Stewart is probably going to be the first freshman All-American that South Carolina has had since Jadeveon Clowney, period. He is, like Gamecock Chuck says right here, Stewart is 3 sacks away from Clowney's freshman season sack record. I feel like we make it happen with him keeping him in Columbia. Absolutely. I mean, you win games in the trenches at South Carolina, and we've got Josiah Thompson on the offensive line, who has been one of those impact players as well. And then, of course, Kyle Kennard, Rocket Sanders, Lenora Sellers, they looked as absolutely healthy as I have seen them look all year.
They look like grown men.
They absolutely. Lenora Sellers dogging my dude, the D-back, instead of running out of bounds, he was like, "No, I'm trucking you." That was old school DJ Swearinger and Jadeveon Clowney football. Man, listen, get after the ball. Stay aggressive. Stay true to yourself. The coaches mess them up sometimes. I think some going over aggressive. That has been my take on the games we have lost. Beamer against Bama, he sent a punt block. He shouldn't have. Got called for a roughing the kicker.
Which
That's
was
neat.
running in the kicker.
Yeah, it was actually running into the kicker, but since it was his plant leg, he didn't even really hit him. He just landed under his plant leg. But since it was the plant leg, I mean, that was just not necessary. Set up for a good return and do it. So, yes, there's been refereeing and officiating mistakes. The Gamecocks, man. And the Commodores are just having magical type seasons. I hate that we got to play.
Pavi is a man.
I hate that we got to play this week. So I'll tell you guys what. Listen, we're coming up on time. We're going to take a 30-second break real quick, and then we are coming back. I've got a scenario for you. It is the most thought-provoking NASCAR question you can possibly imagine. You will not want to miss it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Bang, bang, chicken gang. Sorry about that. I had to get my thoughts collected to explain this to you properly. So, in the playoffs, in the major leagues, the MLB, the NHL, the NBA, are there any teams that are in the playoffs that are not competing in the playoffs to win the championship? So, my question to you guys is, could you possibly handle the mental fortitude that it would take on a week in, week out basis? Say you're the 17th driver in the standings. You're in the first round of the playoffs and you win a race. What if I was in the playoffs? I would be advancing to the next round already because I won this race. Yet, somehow or another, these dudes, they come out and compete. Some of them win races during the playoffs that are not in the playoffs. Ross Chastain comes to mind. Bubba Wallace comes to mind. Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher. Seen all of those dudes win in the playoffs when they weren't in the playoffs and competing for a national championship or a cup championship, whatever you want to call it. But again, NASCAR is the only sport that has all of these teams out there competing for it. So guys, how demoralized would you be though if you were Chase Elliott, who just got eliminated last week, and you go to Phoenix and win this week? When you had the chance to win last week, you were in the lead late in the race. You didn't win to advance. But you go to Phoenix this week and win, and it's like, man, if I had just won last week. So how bad is the what-if syndrome in NASCAR regarding their playoffs?
That's the thing. NASCAR is a completely different sport from anything that you see, as JD just mentioned. Hey, there aren't teams competing in the playoffs against teams that are in the playoffs in any other sport. But yet in that same sense, you look at especially last week, like Martinsville. Everybody wants to win that trophy from Martinsville, that grandfather clock. Everybody wants one. I mean, Dale Jr. tried for years and years and years, and he said after he crossed the checker, crossed the finish line and got the checkered flag, he said, I finally got me that darn clock.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those things. In racing, and if anybody's grown up around it and seen it, it's all about trophies. It's not about hey, if you finished fourth, fifth, oh great, but you didn't win the trophy. So everybody goes out there for the trophy, but in that same sense, you've got these playoff drivers that are competing for a driver championship. These teams still put in the great effort and everything because of it, because they're still competing for an owner's championship, which is points accrued throughout time and over the course of the season. So that's kind of where you're looking at, where hey, these guys are still racing and wanting to win the trophies, but they're still also racing for that owner's championship. It's not just the owners like, hey, you got 4 teams, Hendrick, Gibbs, stuff like that. No, it's whatever car is the best, whatever owner has that car. So that's what it is.
Yeah, you all on the camera, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, happy birthday, everybody.
Birthday girl.
Say happy birthday, Kara. Gamecock Chuck, Rowdy Rooster, Scott, all you guys. Hey, say happy birthday, Kara. Happy birthday, mommy. We love you very much. But yeah, that was great points. And it's so weird. Like NASCAR, I mean, y'all, to me, okay, so if I'm eliminated from the playoffs, yes, I could put it out of my mind for a moment.
Hold on. Let me put it in this perspective. Do you still not run the Boston Marathon because you're not going to finish first?
Right. Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's like, I mean, I would be so disappointed though. All right, if I didn't make the playoffs. And I mean, I'm a competitor. That's why I do this show. I'm gonna compete. Shane gonna compete. We gonna compete. We competitors. We play kickball. We do anything around here. We scoring points. All right. Golf. We keeping strokes. Like, nah, you tap that twice, man. You better
some better than others.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Southern Fried coined statements right there. Anyways, though, but yeah. So NASCAR, though, I would be devastated if I was Chase Elliott, though. This is the best example I can think of. He needed to win this week at Martinsville to get into the championship 4. He was in the lead with 25 points. He did not win the race. And so, therefore, he did not advance. And so, can you imagine, though, if he went and won this week at Phoenix?
I got one for you. So, Ross Chastain had the infamous ride along the wall.
Mm-hmm.
A Hell Melon is what I call it.
Yeah.
From the Watermelon Man. He got into the championship 4 2 years ago. What happened last year? He missed the championship 4 after the round of 8, came back and won Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a FU, and that's how I'd see it. Like, okay, y'all made up these rules and everything, and I mean, William Byron had in his favor. Kyle Larson is going to be one of the heavy favorites to win this race in Phoenix this weekend.
Yeah.
If he wins the race, it's just basically
he'll be in 5th place.
A FU to NASCAR saying, hey, I was this great throughout the season, but because of your round rules and everything else like that, and you give people advantages in the round of 16 and the round of 12, but it kind of dwindles down. And I think you ought to get more for the round of 8 and the round of 4, especially how great your season was. Like,
right, because you're closing down the odds at that point too, of people you got to win against.
Because you look at it, you've got super speedways, you've got road courses, you've got short tracks, you've got all this in those playoff kind of situations where anybody can win. And I mean, you look at it, I mean, it's great to see like somebody that's not in the playoffs actually win these races, because it actually means more to them because they think that they could have actually made it to the playoffs at that point.
Right. And then, hey, we got Gamecock Chuck here. Hey, man, listen, that has been a lot of fans' take. There's a guy I follow on Twitter at Money Talks. I think Gamecock Chuck, I think you follow me on X. Hit me up on X, and I'll hit you up with Money Talks. Money Talks has some of the best NASCAR takes I've ever heard, because he is so against all of the toying with the car. He is so against all the aerodynamic, the tires. He has really good takes. I've tried to get him to come on Southern Fried Sports here with me before to discuss it. He hadn't done it. And so we're going to kind of wrap this all up into one big bow real quick, and we're going to get ready to head to bed and celebrate beautiful wifey's birthday. But should the NASCAR team, Kevin Harvick said the other day, should the NASCAR chairman, board, whatever, whoever's in control of the rules, should they make it where the regular season champion is automatically advanced to the championship 5? So you can still do your playoff. This is what Kevin Harvick suggested. So that regular season champion, though, he's automatically in for racing for the final championship. And then that playoff of 16, because like we just said, these playoffs are dynamic. Shane said you need different advantages in between each round, because each round you go down,
it's
the competition, and then you got all these other drivers who aren't even in the playoffs that are competing against you, taking points away from you. That's what I've never understood too, really. I mean, if you're in the playoffs at that point, there should be, whether it be the 16 cars, they should be placed by themselves. And then the other cars can accrue whatever points they wanted to accrue. But this is the whole thing about it.
So you're basically saying, like, so that wherever everybody finishes counts towards owner points. But whenever you make the playoffs, the top 16, if you're the 16th finisher, you get 1 point. If you're the first finisher, you get 16 points.
Yeah.
That makes sense outside of stage racing.
And see, that's stage racing. That's another topic for another day. Like I said, we were going to tie this in a nice and neat bow. I'll tell you what we'll do, though. We'll tie it in a nice, sloppy JD wrap bow, because I don't wrap gifts very well. So wish me luck tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Again, don't forget, GreenvilleSportsMedia.com. We've got huge college football games coming up. We've got the Bengals and the Ravens going on. They finally hit halftime. I think it was 7-7.
They fixed as far back. No, 14. Bengals had a chance, but then didn't.
Yep, there was an overturn.
14-7.
Yep, there was an overturn. So listen, y'all, we're going to get you back to your Thursday night football. Go Gamecocks. Go Hokies. Go Tigers. This is the only place you can say this. TheFurmanJoust.com. F-U all the time, baby. Furman University all the time. If you think I'm telling you a dirty word, I'm not. This is a family show. Eyes up here. F-U all the time. Furman University all the time, big baby. This is
Tutty.
Southern Fried, gentlemen.
Tutty.
This is Jamar Chase scoring a touchdown on our way out. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all keep in mind what I say. Y'all be blessed, not stressed. Be kind to one another, dang it. Hit that subscribe button and send me the business of your choice. Rowdy Rooster, by the way, you were supposed to join us this evening. You did not. You're always welcome. We'll be waiting for you next time, big dog. Y'all be blessed. Shane, what you got to say to the folks?
Oh, man, I'm fixing to go eat me some dessert, maybe a Twinkie or two. But, man,
Twinkie.
Hey, peace, love, and bacon grease.
All right, we out. Y'all be blessed.